You know that feeling, right? Any gardener does. You've poured all this time and energy into your plants, and then you come out one morning and find them under attack. It can feel like you're fighting this constant losing battle. But what if I told you the best strategy isn't about fighting harder, it's about fighting smarter, by getting nature to join your side? And make no mistake, the enemy is a real threat. I mean, take the tiny little aphid. It seems harmless, right? But an army of them, they can literally drain the life right out of your plants, spread disease, and just turn your whole gardening dream into a total nightmare. Honestly, they're one of the most notorious villains out there. So what's our first instinct? We reach for the sprays, right? We get locked into this chemical arms race in our own backyards. But if you're sitting there thinking, oh, there has to be a better way, a more natural way, well, you are 100% right. Okay, so to win any battle, you first have to understand your enemy. Your garden? It isn't just this peaceful little plot of land. Think of it more like a territory that's under this constant threat of siege from a whole bunch of really determined invaders. So let's look at the usual suspects. You got aphids right at the top, of course. They're not just sucking the sap, they're spreading diseases like crazy. Then you have caterpillars, which are basically just nonstop eating machines that can strip a plant bare overnight. Leaf miners are sneaky. They tunnel inside the leaves, destroying the plant from within. And then there are the ones you can't even see, nematodes, attacking the very foundation of your plants, the roots. Each one is a totally different kind of threat. So how do we possibly defend against all of that without just dousing everything in chemicals? Well, we look to a strategy that's been around for literally thousands of years. It's built on cooperation, not confrontation. It's called companion planting. And this is not just about, making your garden look pretty. It's a really sophisticated system for creating alliances between your plants, where one plant's natural strengths, like its smell or the good bugs it attracts, helps out another plant that's more vulnerable. And that right there is the whole philosophy. Instead of trying to dominate the environment and sterilize it, companion planting is about building a balanced, resilient ecosystem that can pretty much regulate itself. You stop being a soldier and you become more of a diplomat, building these beneficial relationships. All right, so how do we actually put this amazing strategy into practice? Well, our first move is to stop trying to fight this war all by ourselves. It's time to recruit a powerful army of allies. We're talking both plants and the beneficial insects they attract to defend our garden. So your first recruits, they're some of the most effective mercenaries in the entire insect world. Parasitic wasps. And don't worry, they have zero interest in you. They are completely laser-focused on pests like aphids and caterpillars, using them to host their young, which, neutralizes the pest from the inside out. Pretty cool, huh? And this is where it gets really strategic and honestly super fun. You can see here, if you want to get rid of the moths and butterflies that are laying all those caterpillar eggs, you plant some caraway or coriander. Got an aphid problem? Well, sweet alyssum is basically like putting out a giant welcome sign for the wasps that hunt them. You're literally choosing your own personal security force. Next up, let's talk about your day and night shifts. Hoverflies. They are fantastic pollinators, but their babies, their larvae, are absolutely voracious predators of aphids. Then, when the sun goes down, the ground beetles come out. They're your night watch, patrolling the garden for slugs, snails, and all those nasty cutworms. And again, you can see just how tactical this gets. You plant amaranth to attract hoverflies, whose larvae will just devour aphids. And those beautiful nasturtium vines we'll talk more about, they provide the perfect cover for your ground beetles to hide out during the day before their nightly patrol. By providing the right food and shelter, you're building a super diverse and effective security team. So, besides just attracting allies, we can also build up our fortifications. This is all about using certain plants as shields, or decoys, or even scent masking agents that confuse and repel pests directly. Okay, this is a classic example. Plants in the cabbage family are basically magnets for pests like the cabbage moth. But if you surround them with really fragrant herbs like mint or rosemary, you create this amazing scent camouflage. The strong smell from the herbs totally overwhelms the pest's senses. They just can't find their target. The moths literally fly right on by looking for lunch somewhere else. Ah, the nasturtium. This is such a great example of a plant that plays both offense and defense. It actively repels the destructive cucumber beetle, which is fantastic news for your zucchini and squash, but at the same time, its vines act as the perfect barracks for your good guys, like ground beetles and predatory spiders. And remember, the battle isn't just happening above ground. The carrot root fly is the absolute worst for so many gardeners. But if you plant things like onions or leeks nearby, their strong smell totally masks the scent of the carrots. And then there are marigolds. They're famous for releasing a chemical into the soil that's toxic to those root-munching nematodes. It's a powerful, natural solution for protecting your potatoes and melons. And this whole natural approach, it has benefits that go way beyond just protecting your plants. It actually impacts the quality of the food you're growing. For instance, one study found that organic produce, which is grown without all those synthetic pesticides you're avoiding, had 27% more vitamin C. It just goes to show you, what you don't put in your garden is just as important as what you do. Now, this strategy is incredibly powerful, but it's not exactly foolproof. There are a couple of really common mistakes that can accidentally turn your plant allies against each other. So let's take a quick look at what to avoid. First thing, don't crowd your plants. Even the best of friends are going to struggle if they're packed in too tight. It creates this huge competition for water and nutrients, and it also cuts down on air circulation, which can lead to fungal diseases. Second, you have to be mindful of shade. A tall plant can be great for shielding something like lettuce from the hot afternoon sun, but if it casts too much shade, it'll starve its shorter neighbors of the light they need to grow. It's all a balancing act. So as we start to bring this all together, the real key here is a shift in your whole perspective. It's about moving away from this idea of winning a war and towards the idea of nurturing a community. Because here's the real secret. A perfectly sterile, totally pest-free garden isn't natural. It isn't even what you want. The ultimate goal is to create this dynamic, resilient ecosystem where the good guys keep the bad guys in check. Your job is just to set the stage and then let nature do its thing. And really, that's the question I want to leave you with. When you look out at your garden, what do you see? Do you see a battlefield that needs you to constantly intervene and fight? Or do you see a community just waiting to be built? An ecosystem that's ready to thrive with just a little bit of strategic diplomacy from you. The choice, of course, is yours.